Alrighty, what's up BMW bros? It is Monday, Memorial Day. I just did Murph. I don't ever drink anything with caffeine, but I had some caffeine and I forget what this stuff is called. I wish I should have taken a picture of it. It's delicious. Sparkling. It's like a sparkling lime water thing that I found at Earth Fair, which is my new favorite place. So anyway, I did a wash and talk. I think it was this car, and I asked, what do you want me to do? Should I do a produced, beautiful polishing video, or should we do an old school on the weekend, just Maddie and you, me and you hanging out, just working on detailing? So we're gonna do old school, long format. I'm gonna work on as much as I feel like working on. I'm gonna start from the rear of the car and work my way front. What I figured I'd do, I'd start deconning, and then I will, when I get bored with polishing and doing that, I'll go and start removing some PPF, and I'm gonna decide what to do. I'll talk to the guys this week. We'll see if Ryan has time to do PPF on this, but I'm getting the car ready. I find myself wanting to get the perfect scenario where I have the perfect amount of time lined up where I can go and polish a car. No, I got some time now. Why don't just do a little bit at a time. So that's what we're gonna do today. So, but the car hasn't been deconned. Right now it has, what does it have on it? It has drying aid on it. So I'm gonna do a little different, the old school decon, where I'm gonna just clay it. And I think I'm gonna use a clay bar on this, just for the fun of it, for the nostalgia of it. And then I'm not worried about the iron removal. So this is a Florida car, so I doubt we have any issues there. But hear that crunchiness, we're gonna remove all that. Then we'll get our lights out, we'll do some inspecting. I'm gonna do a lot of polishing with the Milwaukee Polisher. I'm gonna take the emblems off, take the plate off, and just kind of work through it. So I guess let's get started. So our life's about to change again. I think for just for the better, as usual. Always improving, always learning. I'm really inspired by the mountain trip. The good news for me is I've been able to drive a lot more. I've been able to drive down the highway, and for those of you who aren't familiar, I suffer from a condition called vasovagal syncope, and that vasovagal syncope basically means that I pass out. Whenever I get, it's a fight or flight mechanism where my tendency is to panic, to get so worked up to the point that my body shuts down and goes to, all the blood leaves my extremities and goes to protect my vital organs. You can see how well I'm doing right now. I can have that without any twinges, but normally I can't even talk about that because then it gets me I'm like, okay, am I gonna pass out in mid-sentence? So it's a completely irrational response, and it's always been my curse since I was little. It happened when in sixth grade the first time, and so it was always kind of a joke that big strong Maddie would be the one who would fall out in the doctor's office, and then it entered into my real life in 2014, and that's when I realized that I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and that obsessive worry, and that this compulsiveness that I have to have these needs, I need to do things, is what I've been working on for many years now, since 2014. It's why the YouTube channel exists. It's why I need that screwdriver. It's why I am who I am, but it also manifests in that I have obsessive worry that I'm gonna pass out while driving. And so it's created a lot of irrationalness that I have, force fields and stuff like that. These places, I can go to one stop sign, I'll be fine, but another stop sign, I won't be. I can go flying down this road, no issues, or another road, it feels different, and I start to panic. So it got really narrow to the point to where I had to have everybody drive me around everywhere, and then it's kind of ebbed and flowed over the years. And so this past year, I've been really making a concerted effort to change the way I do things, in that what I'd been doing for the last several years is just white knuckling. Let me just power through this. And so through some therapy, my therapist and I decided, let's use some intelligence here, and let's kind of gently work our way through and not push and just do what comes natural. So the mountains, I went to the mountains. Part of the help of going to the mountains is that, one, just being in nature is just amazing. And then secondly, you could drive off a cliff there, and if you can do that, it makes driving around the Lady Lake Florida so much simpler. So anyway, where I was going with that is that this car is coming with me to the mountains, and I'm hoping to take the next step where, just imagine, you being me, or you put yourself in my shoes where, I love cars, I love driving, I don't like track driving, but I love that, the whole experience of, ripping down a back road, and you can't do it. And then add insult to injury, I've got 7, 8 cars, I can't drive them. But in a small area. Just put yourself in my shoes for a minute. It's terrible. Dang it. So anyway, I'm feeling the best I've felt in years. And so I'm hoping to be able to kind of turn myself loose and go out. And so this Helen house is going to be I think a big improvement in my life. I need to get the fishing line under here. And this darn thing is recessed in here. I don't really want to jam the metal there. Well, that'll do it. I've got the black I&D badges. Okay, so that's cool. They didn't put any glue on there. Interesting. So again, we in the old days we were just fine not doing iron removal, so I'm going to skip iron removal on this. I'm going to use the Kosh Chemie clay bar. I'm just going to do this in sections and just take my time and work through the car and enjoy it. And I don't know, I've been in this weird spot where, again, it's hard to explain. It's like when you transition from, I have one car and it's just me by myself, messing around in the garage, to, this whole YouTube thing and this whole amazing experience. So this is N914 diluted 128 to 1. I'm gonna have to mix up some more. But it's like I get in these funks where it's okay. I'm always doing stuff, but I'm thinking about doing stuff too much instead of just doing it. Again, there's never a period where I'm just sitting around. But detailing this thing, I'm like, okay, this is gonna line up and that's gonna line up, and instead, why don't I just frickin' do it? So traditional claying is always superior to auto scrub. It just takes a lot longer. It's a lot more work. But this thing is so darn contaminated that it may not be the world's worst thing to do this. I wonder, we're gonna try something. I'm gonna stink up the whole garage, but I can see iron embedded in the paint, so crap. So I don't think I've ever done dry iron removal. Well, let's try it. That's some dirty paint. So this will need, you know, two-step correction. We'll compound it, and then we'll finish it. And I figure if I work one section at a time, like I'll do this rear clip here, we'll decon the rear clip, we'll polish, and then we'll swap to another section, do the decon, do the polishing. That way I'm not stuck doing one thing the whole time. Whew, that's nice. It's fun. It's actually kind of fun when you have some results. Check it. That's some pretty serious contamination. It is the one advantage of buying somebody's used car rather than brand new. Makes you wonder, why don't you just neglect the car and then just correct it? You know, we spend all this time keeping it nice, and when you can fix it, you can neglect something for months or years and just go back and fix it. I think it's just that's a simple wiring question, right? How are you wired? I'm wired to do the work. So, what if I just take, and I've never done this before, but why couldn't this work? Right, take some iron remover, and couldn't I just spray it on here? And then take, I'm going to use a single towel for this. Just kind of spread it around. Oof, gonna stink this place up. I can't tell if that's iron. Yeah, it sure is. What if I do, this dilutes it a bit, but what if I say this is wet, like this, and I take my iron remover, I spray it on, like that, and then what if I clay it, and do this in one step. I think this is a really bad idea. That this absolutely needs to be iron chemically decon. There's tons of iron on this paint. By the way, this is N914. And then I'm using PNS. The PNS iron remover, I forget what they call it. This system could work if I just do this in small sections at a time. And then what we do is just take my lube, it's going to take longer, but the car is already kind of clean. So for me to pull it outside, and plus I need to do the coating on the brakes and the suspension before I go driving around the parking lot. But I think this will work. Again, not ideal, but now we're nice and deconned. And we're ready to polish. So let's do the rear bumper area. Do the same process where we do a joint clay and iron removing. Because remember, you want to get the thing pretty clean. Remember, the polishing step is also going to do some deep cleaning as well. So we got a lift, let's use it. Let's just get it damp. I'm gonna have to pull this off. It's so yellow. This thing out of the way. Yeah. Let's get the steamer going, otherwise it's going to be 10 times harder. This is my Dupre Tosca. I love it. Finally got air and power reels. Yeah, I think if I do smaller sections at a time, you know, the iron remover has a little, it's pretty slick as well, so it does a good job at aiding and adding a little lubrication. Yeah, this car's pretty dirty, man. Look at that. Lots of iron, lots of dirt. It was probably just car wash. I mean, it only had 300 miles on it or something when I got it, but this, to me, looks like a hand wash, car wash type car, you know. It's really, really contaminated, which is rare, weird. So maybe this wasn't a Florida car. Yeah, I don't think I'd recommend this method of iron removal and stinking up the garage. So I'll do the trunk, I'll do this rear bumper, I'm doing the decon now, and then we'll do like a fender at a time, kind of take it that way. Told you it's gonna be an old school crappy angled video where I can't be bothered to do the work to get you a decent angle. That was the old Matty, you remember that? Like, stop, I'll frickin' get you whatever angle I can get. Stop complaining. I can't see. Yeah, I hear you. Well, now we got camera crews. Matt, you've changed. I liked you better before. I mean, just think about, those of you who've been watching a long time, I'm like way nicer. You've become such an arrogant jerk. I said, man, you should have seen me before. I'm much more mature, much more grown up. What happens when you're public, social media is one of those things you have to learn how to manage, and most people don't know how. None of us do, because you have to, it's something that didn't exist. And so, I've matured a lot on it because just out of experience, out of time under tension. Actually, it isn't all that yellow. It's not that bad. I'm inclined to not put PPF on this, especially after the GT4. I took the GT4 to the mountains. I wasn't even able to wash it. This car's going to the mountains. It'll be there for 6 months or so until they give away. And the advantage is that I'm going to be able to wash the thing all the time, because it's going to be at the Helen house. So every time I take it out, I'll wash it. So I'm thinking I'm not going to do PPF on it. And I don't know that I'm going to be good enough yet. That's where I was going with my whole telling you my driving thing. I just get a lot of people asking, so what is wrong with driving? I know many of you know because I've been telling you for a long time now, but some new people are like, what? What do you mean you can't drive? That's ridiculous. Are you some kind of idiot? The nice thing about if you have a couple of cars and you can take your time is that you will do a better job. Like, I'm gonna get in all the cracks and crevices here. It's something generally, a detailer doesn't have time to do. So if you're paying a professional, they're gonna do some more, hey, what do I need to do just to make it look as good as humanly possible within reason? Unless you're just hiring someone who's charging you, or you're hiring somebody who's, maybe just overdoing for what they're charging, which, is noble and all, but not that practical. So, when you have a detailer that's detailing your car, everybody assumes that when you hire a detailer that they go over every single square inch of it. So I'm going to set up my Tornador here. We have these in the store finally. I mean, you could have gotten, from Amazon or whatever for years, but it's super helpful if you buy stuff from me. So we'll use this. I'm going to hang it out over the door there to blow out pads. I'm going to take all my decon stuff. I'm going to put it on the bottom shelf here. And try to shake off my chemical headache from all these chemicals. I've already kind of deep cleaned the jams I've washed this car, I think twice. So both times I spent some time cleaning up the door jams and the trunk jams. And I don't really need to do a test spot. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do jest car correction compound. We'll see if I need to switch over to cut max. I don't think I will need to. Nothing needs to get taped back here, so we can just go to polishing. I'm excited for how this car is going to look. Got the suspension done, got all the interior stuff done. I was going to do the little bit of things I was going to do there. That's all done. Windows are getting tinted on Thursday. So I still have the brakes if you want them. I dry ice clean them. They're freaking beautiful. So those are the F80 carbon ceramic brakes, but in a steel set, steel kit. So we're gonna do, this is the 15 millimeter Milwaukee, which it is not nearly as smooth as the Rupes. That's one thing I don't hear people talking about. There's a whole lot more vibration translating through this than there is with the Rupes. But after about two minutes, it doesn't bother you anymore. So I'm gonna go and use a combination of the King of Smooth, which is this LHR 15, but it's the LHR 15 pneumatic. This is like the smoothest machine in the history of smooth. Let me just put a drop of oil in here. But so the Milwaukee, not nearly as smooth as the Flex, but the Flex is super underpowered. So this one is like a true workhorse machine. And you'll see the battery is awesome. It'll last forever. Get 2 batteries, you can do the whole car, no problem. A bit more. What's it doing? I'm gonna take, since this is a black backing plate, I'm gonna put a red or blue line on it. Red. So that it just helps when you're using it. Make sure it's spinning. It's helpful. Let me get my pad set up here. Just put some stuff on it. This, spread it around a little bit, and we're good to go. I haven't had my air system set up in a long time, so we've got all our air lines and everything, so I would definitely want to use the Rupes. I'm gonna go turn the air dryer on. So I have a refrigerated dryer on the side here. I've got my system set. Gotta bring the pressure up a little bit. Gotta get it to 90 PSI. I think the math is you run it at like 93 PSI. There we go. Then I've got this micro air now, which is three filters. So I got some really clean, really treated, really dialed air on this silent piston, and you'll hear it. It's pretty not as quiet as the Silver 3, but this one is much more capable of powering my pneumatic polisher. Yeah, I haven't even used a pneumatic on this thing since I've gotten it. So this operates at like 63, 64 dB, something like that. The other Silver 3, the rotary screw compressor that I had at my house, or I had, you know, on the other side of this building, was like 58 dB or something like that. All right, so I've been running the Milwaukee at 4,050 RPM is kind of my speed that I've been operating at. And I will transition from holding the battery to holding this, just depends. Actually, I think 4,400 is the way to go. You can see, so it goes 44 all the way up to 5,100 RPM, so there's still headroom left, for sure. Let's see what we got here. This is the kind of paint that you almost need to turn the darn lights off. Turn the middle section off here. And since we're playing with Milwaukee, once we get the new Milwaukee inspection light, just super high quality. Yep. That's all we need. 3 or 4 passes with some Jescar. Change the color temp. Yeah, it looks really good. This is the kind of paint that you don't have to make perfect because it's very forgiving. It's a metallic, and it is it's just, you know, it just doesn't show very much dirt or scratches or anything, because it's, you know, it's like the perfect combination of white and silver. This is fun. I haven't done this with you in a long time. A while. We just did some hanging out. I'm just gonna do this until I feel like not doing it. Now wait till you see the smoothness of this. This is the new, we have this hose, so I don't know if we have it up in the store yet, but this is our new Continental airline. It's freaking awesome. It's even better than the Stowflex, which I love so much. These, I think the only place you can get these is from Esoteric, but this is a Kamikaze trunk pop. So what you do is just take it, clip it onto the trunk, lock it in. The cool thing about the pneumatic, I like to blow out my pads. I like to go open the door up, so I end up blowing it in here. But the pneumatic, you can just pop it off. It's just a pain. The electric, I think electric is, for me, is pretty much dead. I'd rather do pneumatic and electric. I don't love the PXE80, the 3-inch flex. just feels weak to me. It just feels weird. It has balance from a gearing perspective, but it doesn't have balance when you're holding it. I just don't like, it just feels too dainty to me. Maybe because we're so used to doing it the other way with the regular. I really need to rotary this edge here. So when you're doing dual action up against an edge like this, it just smacks into it, which is no good. So I'm going to take and use my short neck. I'm going to put a short neck 1-inch. I'm going to put the rotary attachment on it. Which is this little green guy here. Just screw it in there. And then take our little 1-inch backing plate, screw that in. So got a little 1-inch wool pad here. See, this is, I think, the advantage of tinkering around in the garage. You do a much better job. So since we're going to rotary it, we just want a little. Yeah, just a little bit of polish. You don't want a ton. Hanging out with you on a Monday. I did Murph today, which is run a mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, run a mile, all with a 30-pound vest on. And yeah, I'm hurting. My PR was in 2012, was like 4802 or something like that. I'm just not good with body weight movements. But 4802 is a pretty legit time, you know, for like a, you know, weekend athlete. And I did it 69:40 today, so not good, not good. There's a scratch right there. I don't think I'm gonna get that out. I'm telling you, on rotary, just a tiny little bit of product on here. That's the, you know, the Rupes claim to fame is their just pure balance. Milwaukee is the battery. The battery tech is unbeatable. I mean, I had 3 bars when I started using the machine. We'll probably be able to do this whole thing. I mean, I may swap the battery, but you also don't get like battery droop. You get a lot of that with the Flex. I found that, you know, the machine doesn't like fall off as it approaches, you know, the end of the battery's charge. It'll just stop working. So you don't lose all kinds of torque. Yep, I'd say that's pretty good. Smooth as silk. So my whole little decon process worked okay there.